One of the things that we had talked about with Steve in one of his last appearances here was this whole notion that was being discussed at some of the statewide systems, such as Westchester and Shippensburg. And that's the whole notion of secession, that perhaps the universities would leave the state system and go out and become semi-public or private institutions. Could you tell us what's new with that whole idea and that movement? Has that continued, or is that abated for the time being, Ken?
Yeah, I think, what was happening there is we're facing in the system, and I hope we get to talk about this a little bit more, a real decline in resources. So when you get to the very root of things, it was about, how it is that we are divvying up our resources at the universities. And from everything that we understand at this point, that even the sponsors of the bill, when they looked at all the implications and the rest, they pulled back. They're focusing now more on some very specific concerns that they have. And I think that we're all together now really focused on how do we restore money back to the state system. I'm sure you're aware, in 2011, we took a $90 million cut, 18%. Since that time, we have been flat funded. If we adjust that for inflation, that's about a $23 million cut is what it translates into for the state system schools. So this year, in doing their budgeting, the state system estimates that even with a 3% tuition increase, which there was this year, that there's still a $30 million gap that the universities have to face. Well, we face those cuts year after year after year. And now we've hit the point where, people say, cut the waste, cut the waste. There's no waste. What we're doing right now is we are cutting out programs that are core, key programs, the kind of programs that we would expect be offered at universities. We're seeing philosophy professors being cut. We're seeing music being cut.
I loved philosophy.
And I love music.
I love classes.
It's hard to imagine, but at one of our universities right now, they're not going to offer music as an introductory class even. So students won't get the opportunity to get exposed to Beethoven, to Bach, to Mozart. Those giants of Western culture, it's not going to be there. We've seen since those cuts, 77 programs put into moratorium. A third of those programs are foreign language programs. And that is really just not healthy for our students. It's not healthy for the Commonwealth either. In terms of the individual students, we're actually seeing nationwide a growth, a demand for interpreters, a demand for translators. But even more important than that, everybody from the chancellor of the state system to the university presidents to faculty, we all know we live in a globalized economy now. So if we're not giving students foreign language programs, we're hurting those students and their opportunities. On top of that, we're hurting the Commonwealth because we're not going to be an attractive place for employers to come to go search. Yeah.
No.